Hey, 7th grade, Miss Osborne here for our very first flip lesson class. It's hard to say. Miss Osborne's already tongue-tied. This works the same way as class. You know, the 10-15 minutes I get up class, y'all get your guided notes out and you take notes. Same thing. You're just going to watch the video at home. Going to take a few notes. We're going to learn some stuff, and then apply that knowledge at home as well. Bring it back to school. We're going to do some projects, some group work, and then you're going to show me what you know. So everything what you're used to doing in class, we have just flipped it. Instead of learning the lesson, I send work home. You're going to learn the lesson at home, and we're going to do the work at school. And trust me, your parents will love you for it. So in this lesson is rational numbers. And I love rational numbers because it's fractions. So many fractions. And that is my favorite part of math. We're going to have two vocabulary words. One is rational numbers, and the other vocabulary word is relatively prime. I know I said word and I said two words, but it is. They're vocabulary, relatively prime, and rational numbers. So what I'm going to do, I've already got them written on the board. I'm going to explain what it is. You're going to stop the tape. You're going to write down your vocabulary and your definition and some examples. Start the tape back up, do the next word, and then we're going to move on. My first word, and again, that's what the name of our unit is rational number. And a rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. For example, 3/4, it's a fraction. 23. I know what you're thinking. No, I've not bumped my head. 23 is a whole number, but it can also be written as 23/1. That's a fraction, and it's found on the number line. 2/3 is a fraction. That is a rational number. What about 3/10 repeating? Because that line right there means repeating. That's written as 1/3. Also, any negative number that's written on the number line is also a rational number. So I want you to stop the tape, write this definition down and the examples, and then we'll be ready for the next one. Relatively prime. Wow. When I was your age and I learned this vocabulary word, I thought, this does not make any sense. Relatively prime. But once I'm finished explaining it to you, you will understand it. Relatively prime numbers have no common factors other than 1. Yeah, prime numbers only have common factors, 1 in itself. But relatively prime, we normally use that in fractions. For example, 10/21, 10/21, or 10/21. It's all the same. Our factors of 10 are 1, 2, 5, and 10. So that's not a prime number, that's a composite number. Our factors of 21 is 1, 3, 7, and 21. Again, I have two composite numbers. But this is in simplest form because it's relatively prime. The only common factor it has is 1. Relatively prime. So now you're going to stop the tape. You're going to write down your vocabulary word and the definition and your example, and then get ready and we're going to practice a few. Oh, but wait a minute. Let me wipe the sweat. Okay, I've worked hard. Now it's your turn. Okay, now you've got your vocabulary written down. Now here are some examples of this unit, what we're going to practice tomorrow. Mr. Keltner's went over this quite a bit. I just want to refresh your memory again. When we simplify a fraction, and remember a fraction has a numerator and a denominator, we have to get that into simplest forms, or write the simplest form of an equivalent fraction. An equivalent means the same thing, just in a simplified version. So, first thing I need to do is find all of the common factors of 6. Well, I know that 1 will go into 6, obviously, and 6 goes into 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 2 will go into 6 because it's even, and 2 times 3 is 6. There are all my factors. 4/6. All of my factors for 10. Of course, it's 1 and 10. And then I know 2 will because 10 is even. And 2 times 5. Those are all of my factors for 6 and 10. Well, now we have to find a greatest common factor. Well, 6 and 10 are not in common. 3 and 5 are not in common, but 2 is a common factor. So all we do, whatever operation you perform to the numerator to simplify a fraction to an equivalent form, you have to do the same thing to the denominator. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 6/10 can be reduced to 3/5. Now, we have been...
Hold up, Miss Osborne. Slow down. Let me put this in English for you. So, first to simplify 6/10, we know they're both even, so we can divide them both by 2. So, we can just go on and divide those by 2. And then we get 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Simple enough.
Practicing on integers. But now we're talking about rational numbers. So what if I have a problem negative 16 over 24? Again, I have to find the common denominator. Not a common denominator, check that. Miss Osborne made a mistake. We have to find a common factor. So I know 1 will go into 16 times 16. And you all probably remember this back in the day as rainbow factors. And then I know 2 will go into 16. 2 will go in there 8 times. And we got a little pretty rainbow going on. And 4 will go into 16 4 times. See, Miss Osborne's an artist as well. And then we're going to find the factors of 24. 1 and 24. 2 will because it's even. 2 times 12. 3 will. 3 times 8. And 4 times 6. And we could be fancy and have a little fancy dancy dance going on here. Whoops. And we have a little upside down rainbow or smiley face. Now a common factor. 16 or 24 is not common. 12 is not common, but wait a minute. 8 is a common factor. So I have negative 16 over 24 divided by 8 over 8 because it's a common factor, which equals 16 divided by 8 is 2. 24 divided by 8 is 3. But don't forget about my negative sign hanging out here. We have to bring it over, and now we have a negative 2/3. So yes, you can simplify positive integers and fractions. You can simplify positive fractions and negative fractions. Okay, this part of the lesson we're going to change fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. And I'm just going to start off right at the top because we're going to change this decimal to a fraction. And I know, all of you all know that 75 hundredths equals, just like I said, 75 over 100. Now, I've already taught you how to find the greatest common factor, so we're not going to go through all of that right now. But I can look at 75 and 100 and know that my greatest common factor is 25. 75 divided by 25 is 3. 100 divided by 25 is 4. So, 75 hundredths is equivalent to 3/4. Write that down, and we will go on and change. Now my fractions to decimal, and I know fractions to decimal, we have to divide. So my example here has negative 3/5. Oh, good gravy, Miss Osborne. You threw a negative in there. Yeah, I did. Whenever we divide, my denominator is my divisor, my numerator is my dividend, and I'm just gonna stick this negative out here. You know what? I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna put my negative here because I already have a negative. My answer will be a negative. 5 will not go into 3, so I'm gonna put a 0 there, bring my decimal straight up, and annex a 0. 5 will go into 36 times. 6 times 5 is 30 with nothing remaining. So my equivalent decimal for -3/5 equals -6/10. Okay, 7th grade, you just successfully went through your first real flip lesson. Normally, they're gonna be about 7 minutes long. My goal is 7 to 10 minutes. I talk a lot, you know that in class. Sometimes that's why we don't get as much done as Miss Osborne wants us to do. But I tell you what, this is it today. We're gonna come in tomorrow. We are going to simplify fractions. We are going to change fractions to decimals, decimals to fractions. We're gonna practice and we're gonna be ready. So be sure to look over the tape again, practice, write down your example. See you in the zone tomorrow. Have a good evening.